my name is Amanda, and today we're going to be doing something a little more fun than normal. The last episode I did was about health issues, and I just don't want to dwell on that this week. So we're going to be doing something a little more fun. I asked some family to ask me some questions that they thought would be good for you to get to know me, and so I have a list of questions here. I have no idea if I'm going to get through all of them because I am a talker and I like to pontificate. So we'll see how this goes. Remember that if you want to continue watching me and you want to see what life is like with a lot of chronic illnesses or a lot of disabilities, and you want to continue on my journey with me, then go ahead and click that subscribe button and go ahead and click that like button as well, as that helps the YouTube algorithm get this video in front of more people. All right, so let's get started with my questions. So the first question is, share your favorite high school subject. So I am through and through a band nerd. I was in marching band, I was in wind symphony, and I loved band. Band was the whole reason why I stuck high school out, because my high school experience was not the greatest. So I stayed in school because of band. And it wasn't because I was a bad student. I got very good grades, but I hated school, like, intensely. Basically because of a lot of social aspects, but yeah. So band, 100% band was my favorite class ever in high school. And I loved marching band competitions. I loved performing. And I thought that I was going to be a music performer for the rest of my life. I went to college originally for music performance, and yeah, that didn't work out. Basically because I suck at auditions. And it's not because I auditioned and they say you suck. I was just so nervous about the audition that I never did it. I did get a full ride scholarship for music performance at the University of Nevada, Reno. I ended up not going to that school. I ended up going to Utah State University instead and never auditioned for the band there. Long story, long, stupid story, and it is one of the things that I regret in my life, is never auditioning. So, band. All right, so my favorite book. So this is kind of a trick question. So my favorite book of all time is actually a children's book, The BFG. I was not a fan of the movie that they made recently. Probably because I love the book so much and I found a lot of things wrong with the movie. But when I was in 4th grade, my teacher introduced me to Roald Dahl, and I became obsessed and I read all of his books. And at night, to practice my reading, I would read to my sister, and she just thought it was a great source of entertainment because they're good books. And then I would just read all of these Roald Dahl books. And the BFG was my favorite of all time, and I can't even count anymore how many times I've read this book. Because, like, if I'm cleaning or organizing or something and I find the book again, then I read it. And so, I mean, when I was younger, it used to take me a lot longer because, I mean, when you're younger, you read a lot slower. Now it's like a day to read the book. But yeah, I've read that book a lot. There's nothing miraculous about that book. There's nothing that's like life-changing in that book. It just is something that really, it caught my imagination when I was younger, and I've been obsessed with it ever since. And no, I don't like the movie at all. Yeah. I just barely finished the Laura Jo Roland series of Sano Ichiro, his mystery novels. I started that series when I was in high school, and then I stopped reading them at some point, And then when this illness started, I discovered that I could rent books, audiobooks from my local library, and they had a bunch of her books, and I was like, well, now's a good time as ever. Finally finished those, so I love those books, and almost never was I able to figure out who did it. So that's what I think a good mystery novel is when it's not plain who the bad guy is. Yeah, so I finished those. I finally finished Crime and Punishment, and it wasn't because it was a bad book. It was because it was so well written that I thought it was me speaking in my own head. And if you don't know the story, it's about a guy who murders a woman and all the things that go inside his head dealing with that. And so I kept having to put the book down because I'd have panic attacks. And I finally got it on audiobook, and because someone else's voice was reading it, I was able to get through it. And it's a fantastic book. Like, it really is. There's a reason why it's a classic. So, but yeah, those right now. I'm still reading tons of books. I have a lot of books that I read nowadays, listen to, but I love books in general, so yeah. Did I play any sports? I busted out laughing when I saw this question because I am not athletic, but not in the way that you would think. So I was in dance, I did marching band, I, did a lot of physical things, but none of them were sports. And the sports I did do didn't last long. For example, when I was about 8, my mom tried me out for a soccer team. And on the day of tryouts, I had a soccer ball kicked into my gut. I ended up on the ground crying, and 8-year-old me was like, I'm not doing this, and I ran off the field. So there's that. My sad attempt at trying out for volleyball in middle school. I had never played volleyball. I didn't know the rules of volleyball. And they were having people come in to try out, and because I didn't know the rules of it, they kicked me out of the room. I still have issues with that, but whatever. And then when I was in college, I had the brilliant idea of I wanted to play rugby. And they had an ad in the university paper saying, hey, we're having rugby tryouts, come to the field at this time to try out. So I drove to the field, got out in my workout clothes, got up to the field, saw a lot of really large, burly women, and I felt all my bones break just looking at the field. And I said, nope, and turned around and went back to the car. I swear these women were like 7 feet tall. They were huge, and I just knew that my little 5'6" body was going to be crushed the moment I got on that field. So those are my attempts to do sports. I didn't do sports. I was a dancer, and I did marching band. I was on the dance team. I taught Zumba, and I did marching band. Those were, yeah, exciting. That's it. I'm very exciting, yes, yes. My favorite animal, so it would be, I would be remiss if I said that cats weren't high on my list. I just love animals in general. I'm not a cat person or dog person. I don't understand why you have to choose one side or the other. I love dogs. I love cats. I think dogs are more of a commitment than cats, even though you still have to take care of a cat. But you don't have to go out and take your cat for a walk and things like that. Some cats you do, depending on the breed. If you have a Bengal, I'm sorry. You probably have a giant cat wheel in your house because energy. But it doesn't really matter the animal. I really love animals, and I'm not one of those people that like, I love animals, but oh, insects, gross. Nope. There's only, I think mosquitoes might be the only animal that I'm like, no. Like, I'm allergic to wasps, but I'm not like kill all the wasps on the planet. So I just, yeah. So cats are probably up there. Elephants are also one of my favorite animals on the planet. I am terrified of them and absolutely adore them all at the same time. Because when I'm near them, they're massive, right? So I get kind of scared when I see how huge these animals are, but I also absolutely love sharks. I am a shark nut, which is why my bathroom is shark themed, because I love sharks and they get a really bad rap for no real good reason. And if you want to hear a rant about me and sharks, I can make an entire video on that and why you shouldn't be afraid of them. I really love manatees. I just love animals. We'll just say animals are high on my list of the things that I love the most. People, not so much. Animals, yes. Do you speak any languages? Ever been out of the country? So the second part of that made me laugh. Have I ever been out of the country? I spent 12 years of my life living overseas. My dad was in the Air Force, and I grew up moving every 3 years when I was younger, and then I moved a few more times when I got older. So have I been out of the country? Yes. Yes, I have. I was always very prideful of the fact that I lived in Europe longer than I had in the US, and now that's no longer the case. And so my husband sometimes gets on me for claiming that because it's not true anymore. But yes, I've been out of the country. Languages that I speak. Languages that I speak fluently, none. I'm pretty good at English. There are moments where my brain goes completely blank and I can't remember anything, and it is my mother tongue. I learned Croatian, and I can't say fluent. There was a time where I was pretty decent at it. Now I sound like a 3-year-old because Croatian is not really spoken in the United States, and the few times that I have been able to use it was a long time ago. I had the opportunity to be a translator for a Bosnian woman who was in a nursing home, and I would translate for her nurse, which made me learn a lot of medical terms that I didn't know because those were not things that I learned while I was living in Croatia. But Croatian, I still can understand it. It's not something that comes to me instantly, like I have to like turn my brain on to get that back, but luckily my husband speaks Serbian, and those languages are pretty close to each other, so we can slaughter our way through our languages. If a native ever heard our grammar, they would be horrified. Yeah. So I did learn Croatian, and in my house we speak what's called the Davis language, and that is whatever language that you can remember at that time, throw it in a sentence. Doesn't matter the grammar, doesn't matter the language, doesn't matter if there's more than one language put in the one sentence, and you talk to other members of my family. And if you know more of one language than another person, that's okay because you still understand it. My husband is slowly learning this language, and it's kind of funny because sometimes my mom will say something and my husband will get up and do it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's learning. Duh. But yeah, we call it the Davis language, and like my sister speaks more German than the rest of us, but if it's simplistic enough, we can understand what she's talking about. I'll speak Croatian, and usually context is what helps people understand me when I'm speaking Croatian. My mother speaks Italian, and we just kind of throw in whatever language. And sometimes there's Korean phrases that get thrown in there. There's Japanese phrases that get thrown in there, and those are not places that we lived or have even been to. We just know phrases and words. So we have the Davis language. So do I speak the Davis language fluently? Yes. Does anybody else? There are 3 other people that speak that language fluently, and my youngest brother is slowly learning it, so we're getting there. Will it ever become an official language? I hope so. It's a fantastic language. So yeah. Right now I am learning Korean. It has been my goal to learn Korean since I was in high school. I don't know why I chose a language that is so hard for English speakers, but I learned it in college and then I've lost it all when I learned Croatian, and now I'm trying to relearn it. And then I'm also trying to learn Scots Gaelic, which is just because my ancestors are Scottish, and not an easy language. I keep choosing really hard ones. I just need to learn a Latin language and then I could feel slightly accomplished, but apparently I like to learn hard languages for some weird reason. Yeah. Who are some of your favorite YouTubers? I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't have like cable television, so I watch a lot of streaming platforms, because I hate it when I say like I don't watch TV and people are like, oh, you one of this. No. I sit my butt in front of a TV for a lot of my day, but it's not like cable networks. YouTube is one that I watch a lot. Netflix, Crunchyroll. So I watch a lot of, Prime. So I am in front of a TV a lot. I just don't have cable. If that makes sense. Favorite YouTubers? Oh, goodness gracious. Mariah Elizabeth, Brad Mondo, Simply Nailogical, Sophia Nagard, Bailey Sarian. I really like her a lot. Yeah. Trying to remember all the names of all these YouTubers that I watch a lot of. Oh, I watched That Chapter. I don't know his last name. I know his name is Mike, but I don't know his last name. Lots of murder mystery stuff. I watch a ton of documentaries. I watch a lot of historical clothing, things like Bernadette Banner, Morgan Donner, Amy Cox. Yeah, so I watch a lot of YouTube. I have quite a few that I look forward to their episodes every week. So, you know, yeah, YouTube I watch mainly. That's like the big thing that I watch daily. So I have a lot of YouTubers that I know. Oh, Snake Discovery. I love that show. Clint's Reptiles. Yes, I met him and I got like fangirl-ness, and I was sitting in my wheelchair and he was talking to my sister above my head and I was just like, oh my gosh. I snuck a picture of him because I'm creepy. Yeah. So those are some of the YouTubers that I really love and I watch them religiously. If they have a new episode, I watch it. Yeah. So what are some of my favorite TV shows or movies? Okay, favorite TV show, I would be in the wrong 100% if I did not say that my favorite TV show of all time is Star Trek: The Next Generation. I am a Trekkie through and through. I have seen all of the Star Treks except for the new Discovery, but I have watched Picard. I did watch the first episode of Below Decks, but they want me to get a CBS All Access pass to watch the rest of it. So I'm waiting for all the episodes to come out and then watching it all in one fell swoop. So I only have to pay for like a month of that. I already have too many streaming services. So yes, I am a Trekkie through and through. I've been to a Star Trek convention. Love Star Trek. I have a lot of Star Trek products. like jackets and shirts and bags and pillows and yeah, so Star Trek, 100%. I also like old shows like MASH and Murder, She Wrote. The Murder, She Wrote, I tell you what, if I ever saw Jessica Fletcher, not Angela Lansbury, Jessica Fletcher, the character, in real life, I would scream and run away and say, oh my gosh, someone's gonna die. Someone in this room is going to die, and I would flee because it's true, someone would die. I love Poirot. I love a lot of the TV shows that I watch are really old, but basically it's because I used to watch them with like my grandma, and I just loved spending time with my grandma, so of course I love them. But yes, Star Trek. My favorite movie is a Humphrey Bogart movie, which Humphrey Bogart is my favorite actor of all time, and nothing can ever change how much I love Humphrey Bogart. Yeah, I fell in love with him when I was living in Italy, and so I would have been in 6th grade, probably 6th grade. Watched The African Queen, which is a really weird movie to fall in love with Humphrey Bogart because he was already in his 50s by then and not looking too great. I think he's beautiful no matter what, so. But I just got obsessed with Humphrey Bogart and started buying all of his movies, and back then you couldn't like stream anything. We lived on a military base, and so yeah, good luck renting a video from Humphrey Bogart. So there was a catalog, and I just went down and I would save my money up and just buy all of his movies. So I had a huge collection because he was in a lot of movies. So my favorite movie of his is not what you would probably think. It is not Casablanca. That is a good movie, but that is not my favorite movie. My favorite movie of his is a movie called All Through the Night. And the reason why I absolutely love that movie is because it is a semi-comedy, and he's not in a lot of comedies. And so it's kind of like stretching what he normally plays, like the really hard gangster or detective or something like that. And so this was something that was more playful and makes me just giggle and laugh. And I love Humphrey Bogart. So, but there's only a few movies of his that I absolutely do not like, but that's for a different time. But Humphrey Bogart, always, always, always. Yeah. All right, so that is where my camera decided to stop recording because Walgreens texted me to tell me that I have prescriptions ready to pick up, and apparently that cuts off recording. So I ended up talking to myself for a very long time. Yes, that's great. Super great. Anyway, so I guess we're gonna leave the video there because I'm not re-recording that right now. I am too sick and I am too tired to deal with that. So we will make this a two-parter, and I will finish my getting to know you questions next time when I'm feeling a little bit better. So, because there were some that I was like, yeah, I'm really proud of how I answered this question. Yeah, so we will finish that later. Remember to be kind. Kindness is free, so give it out to everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay, well, are you good?
I think so.
Okay. Because I pushed the button.
Okay. Oh crap, you know what I didn't do? I didn't check my freaking teeth.
Teeth check. Good, we're good, we're good.
All right.
You can put some of that stuff at the end.
I'm planning. That's the purpose of it. Love you.
Okay.
there's an argument between birds in my tree. Okay. I also love the fact that the AC just turned on, and it makes the sound level in here not good. So I'm gonna go turn that off. I gotta put little markers down so that I know where to put my butt when I come back, because Eric set up the camera. All right. I'm back. Okay, put my butt in between these little pegs. Okay. Wait for the AC to turn off, because it takes forever once I say turn off for it to actually turn off.
I'd much rather eat your hair than that nasty candy corn hanging from your ear.
You're cute.
It probably tastes better than the real thing, too.
Probably.
Love you.
Love you.